If you need one more reason to be thankful this Thanksgiving, well, here it is. More and more researchers are finding that gratitude doesn't just make you feel like a better person, it's actually good for your health. So joining us now is CBC medical contributor Dr. Peter Lynn. And first off, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
I feel better already. Why is that?
Well, it's interesting. We always thought about gratitude as you're thinking about something good. And so therefore, of course, you're going to feel more optimistic, you're going to be less depressed. And then they started seeing that people were less sick if they were more gracious. And the second thing is that they were measuring their blood steroids and things like that, the stress hormones, and they seemed to have 23% less. So they started to scan their brains to say, what's going on in your head? And so think of your brain as two parts. There's the big brain that we normally see. That's the one that thinks and feels and all that kind of stuff. Then there's the other part, which is the animal brain. That's the one that helps you survive. That's what we live with most of the time when you're stressed out. So what happens when they scan people when they're grateful, what happens at the big part of the brain, a whole bunch of different places light up. So your memory, your vision, everything sort of puts together that thing that you're so grateful about. And what's interesting is that it is actually sending a signal to the animal brain to say, it's okay. Life is good. In other words, there's no threat. You can calm down. You can call off the red alert. And that might be why you're seeing less stress hormones and all those things when you're grateful.
And we've heard a lot about happiness being good for your health. So what is the difference between gratitude and happiness?
Yeah, so for the kids, happiness is everything, right? So I always thought happiness was the end-all, be-all. But if you think about it, you may be happy about something. Like I had turkey, I was happy, but you're not grateful. You're not thankful for that. Whereas when you're thankful or you're grateful, what happens is that you're actually feeling happiness for sure because you're thinking about something that's good. So gratefulness includes happiness already, so therefore it's a bigger picture. The other thing is that usually when we're grateful to somebody. So it actually involves other people and interaction. And then finally, with happiness, they're saying we put a lot of conditions on it. I'll be happy if the Jays win. I'll be happy if I get the car. I'll be happy if I get the promotion. So there's lots of little conditions on it. Whereas when I thank somebody, I don't think, well, I'm going to thank them if they do these things for me, right? We just go and say thank you, right? So the thought is that maybe gratitude is more inclusive. And so that might be a better thing to strive for.
So more of a long-term state of mind type of thing, that someone is just sort of a gracious person rather than, like you're mentioning, just those little bits and pieces.
Yeah, so happiness comes and goes very quickly. Graciousness sort of lasts longer.
So are you born with it? Like, are you just born to be a gracious person, or can you learn how to be gracious? How does it work?
So I think there's a chunk of it that's born, right? We know people like that. But they did this study where they just took normal people, and what they said was, we're going to have you write about how good things are. So in other words, this one group wrote everything that's good in their life. The other group wrote everything that they're angry with and irritated with. And what they did was 10 weeks later, they compared them. And the group that wrote good things, they were more optimistic, they were exercising more, they didn't visit their doctors as often. So lots of good things seems to come out of it. So maybe we just take 30 seconds and we just think about what we should be grateful for during the day, and then that will send those signals down to that primitive brain and say everything is okay, and we can calm ourselves down. The other thing is that maybe if we say thank you to somebody, we can change their chemistry. And so therefore now all of a sudden they're feeling good as well. And we've seen that, right? You thank somebody, they just light up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so I think that's very useful as well. And it doesn't have to be big, right? It's just a thank you, an email that says thank you. Or when you're in traffic and somebody lets you in and you do that wave, and then they're all happy and you're all happy. And so maybe it's good for you, it's good for them, and everybody's brains are less animalistic, and that might be a good thing for us to do.
So some proof that the actual sitting around the Thanksgiving dinner table and saying what you're grateful for is actually going to be beneficial for your health.
Yeah, and just keep doing that every single day. But don't make it a chore, right? Oh gosh, I have to do this, right?
Yeah.
Let's make it feel good, and then that way our brains will feel good.